All right, well, good morning. Thanks for joining me. It's I know a busy week. I know for a lot of us, it's a bit of busy week for us here at Ednam. It is a busy week as well. Let me see if I can get my video on for you. Dang, where do I go? Oh, here we go. Yeah, we got a lot going on here. We've got the class today. Tomorrow, if you're interested, at noon at CAR, they're doing a diverse equity inclusion type of thing where there's a lunch. You can go on Zoom or in person. You can't get lunch if you're on Zoom, but there's a lunch and then a panel discussion just in regards to trying to make sure that we're totally inclusive. We're always reaching out to do the right things as it relates to not only just fair housing, but treating everybody well. So if you're interested in that, that's tomorrow at noon from 12 to 2. They're showing a movie, a documentary from 12 to 1, and they're gonna have a panel discussion from 1 to 2. And I'm certainly planning on being there for that. And then tomorrow night, we've got our chili cook-off right here in this very room. And Jay and I were just talking about, I think we've got 7 different cooks that'll be preparing chili and trying to make you vote for them. Again, in honor of or support of Toy Lift, which, believe it or not, is on Friday. It's 1st of December tomorrow, Thursday, which is crazy. So tomorrow, the 30th, is the chili cook-off. And then the 2nd is the Toy Lift out at the Charlottesville Fashion Square Mall. So if you're coming tomorrow night, it'd be great. Bring some money to help us raise money for Toy Lift. Bring a new unwrapped toy so that we can take a bunch of toys over there on Friday. Let's raise some money for Toy Lift. And then the following week, the 8th, is our decoration reception, I guess you would call it, in support of the Children's Fund, Children's Hospital Fund, where you can buy decorations here at the office, at every office, green. Hello, Gwen, welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
Great to have you. Decorations, you can go in green, sign Crossroads, and also here. And QR code, you scan it, $25 donation. You get to personally put your own message on it. And then on Friday, Beth Ann and a couple people will go over to Friday the 9th. Beth Ann and a couple people will go over to the hospital and help set up a tree, decorate a tree over there with one of the Miracle families. So that'll be a really sweet time. Unfortunately, only a couple, 3 people can go. They don't want a whole lot of people in there, which you can kind of understand. But anyway, lots and lots going on. Thursday, class in here at 10 in regards to just really trying to get you thinking about prospecting, really thinking about finding things that you feel comfortable with, even if it's outside your comfort zone, that you feel comfortable with in generating business so that you can really put yourself in a good place for success in 2023. And one of the big ones for me is open houses. We got away from open houses for a couple different reasons. One, COVID really knocked things down in regard to people, believe it or not, didn't want you in their house, didn't want other people in their house. And then the market just was so frenetic that things were going on the market and selling almost right away. And so we kind of got out of the mojo of it. And I'm really trying to encourage you guys to get back in the mojo of it. And the reason I'm saying that is that you have opportunities now. You can look at the new listings that come on at Howard Hanna Roy Wheeler. You can reach out to those agents and say, hey, I see you've got a new listing over such and such. I'd be interested in holding that open for you. And I just think there's a real opportunity if you pick the right ones and the right price and the right location, that there's a real opportunity for you to pick up new business off that open house. But what I want to do this morning is make you think about, and some of you have, maybe a couple of you have been in this class before. I've tried to update it a little bit. But I really want you to think about the fact that the open house is not just about Sunday. the open house is not just about Sunday. The open house today is Tuesday, the 30th. If I want to hold an open house, not this weekend, but the following weekend, so that would be December 11th, right? I think you could probably do open houses the 4th as quickly as this Sunday, but the 11th and 18th, after that, I would hold off. I don't think you should be doing it on Christmas or New Year's. Have at it if you want to, but I'm not sure those are going to be the best times for people going out and looking at properties. But let's just think about the 11th and the 18th right now. Let's think about, I'm going to make a commitment to hold 2 houses open this coming month. And I'm going to do them on the 11th and I'm going to do them on the 18th of December. So that's just a, sort of a base point. So we're going to do open houses on the 11th or 18th. Now, why do I hold off on the 4th? Well, the 4th is still a good date, but I want you to think about the open house as being a reason for prospecting over 10 days prior to the open house and for a couple days afterwards. So it's almost a 2-week effort. With every open house we do, it's almost, if we do them to as thoroughly as we can, it can be as much as 2 weeks, 10 days. If you start, a week ahead of time and a couple, 3 days afterwards. And why do we do that? Well, because we're going to use that open house as our reason for prospecting for new business. That's going to be the focal point, the foundation of what we're doing over the next week or 10 days to try to generate new business. And guess what? It may not be from people that come to that open house. That's the thing that I really want to, share with you this morning. It may be all the different things that you do up to that open house. You may not have anybody come to the open house. Dave did an open house a couple weekends ago and then had a couple agents come by previewing, but didn't really have a good turnout. But if he had done all the things I'm going to talk about over the next 45 minutes or so, it would have been okay because he used that time, that 2 to 4, 2 to 5 time to prospect for business using that open house as my reason or our reason. Okay. So as we think about that, the first thing we want to think about is, what are the values that cause you to do business in the way you do it? Knowing these will help you make your open house successful. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that I want to try to find my values, or I want to use my time effectively. I want to use my time to try to find people that I can build rapport with, that I can gain credibility with, and then I can have a system in place, which we'll talk about while we're in this class today. I have a system in place that I can show people that I care about them and I really want to help them. Another thing is when we're thinking about the values and the way you want to do your business, you want to do it professionally. We talk about quality service in a professional way, right? So one of the ways that we can learn how to do them well, open house as well, and quite honestly, how maybe we can't do them well, is to shadow some other agents. When you see open houses being held, whether there are open houses or another company's open houses, go visit them. Go stop in on a Sunday and just say, hey, I'm Michael Guthrie with Howard Hanna Roy Wheeler. I'm out today just kind of previewing homes. How's it going? And just walk through the house, but also just kind of stay for a while and see how they greet people, see how they set things up in regards to making people feel welcome and that you're really glad that they're there. You're going to see people who don't do anything, that they're just, they put up a sign, maybe they ran an ad, maybe they ran an ad and then they prayed that somebody would come. Good morning. Welcome. Glad to have you. Grab one of the handouts right there, Monica. And excuse me? Yeah. No, take both sheets. Both sheets. There you go. No. That sheet right to the left. There you go. Second page. There we go. Jennifer, this is Monica. Monica is Jennifer. And so anyway, so shadowing other agents, you can kind of get a feel for how to do it well or how maybe not to do it well, right? Secondly, ask an agent to watch your open house. Ask an agent to come with you, a more experienced agent, that maybe has encouraged you to, come to our company or that you get to know and just say, hey, if you're free, would you, come and watch me and critique me to see if I'm putting myself in a position. Hang on one second. Morning, Kristen. I emailed you the outline. Can you forward it to the people that are on the screen? Thanks. Yeah, so asking people to come and critiquing you and let you know what you did well, what you didn't, what you didn't do well. And don't worry about being nervous or screwing up or whatever. That's where the facing our fears come. Because whatever you're doing matters. Whatever you're doing matters. And the next time you do it, you're going to do it better. You're going to learn from other people or even just from your own, your own situations. One of the things I used to talk about when I was facing my fears, one of my fears, and fear being false evidence appearing real, your fear will always appear bigger and more ominous than they are in reality. That they will feel bigger. They'll feel like I can't do this. I'm not comfortable doing this. And one of the ways I got away from my fear, if you will, where I started really trying to learn how to build rapport, gain credibility, show people I care, is that I pictured if somebody drove up in the driveway of an open house, and let's just say it's a $400,000 listing, right? And it's a 3% commission. I pictured people driving up into that neighborhood, and I'm saying they're bringing in the house a paper bag full of $12,000 in cash, and my job is to get it out of their hands. If I'm just going to sit around and not really try to engage them and not really try to figure out a way that I can find common ground with them and figure out something that we have in common and that kind of thing. And if I don't have things professionally done that I can give to them, that they're going to say, boy, this person did a whole lot more in preparation for this than anybody else I've seen. This is the kind of realtor I want to work with. If that person leaves or those people leave, and I don't do a good job of building rapport, gaining credibility, showing people I care, and didn't get their information, I got a pretty good chance that I'm not going to get that $12,000 paper bag. I can do whatever I can do to try to figure it out. But if I can't get their information so I can stay in touch with them, then there's a very good chance that even if I impress them at the open house, unless they, took the information I gave them, and we'll talk about that, unless I gave them that information and somehow, some way I impressed them enough that they reach back out to me, I've lost them. It's now in their control, not in my control. So again, building rapport, gaining credibility, showing your care, getting away from your fears. Some of you have fears of videos, Facebook videos. I still have them. As much stuff as I do. Thursday morning, I was over here at Boar's Head for the turkey trot because we were sponsoring it and helping support Children's Hospital. And I did a Facebook Live while I was there. Hey, it's Michael, just wandering through the parking lot at the turkey trot. Howard Hanna Roy Wheeler sponsoring the turkey trot. Look how many people are here. Hey, congratulations to Carter Myers for sponsoring this. Great to be a sponsor with them. And it just was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, right? And a few people came on and commented and that kind of thing. But the bottom line is, I did it. And the cool thing about that is it doesn't just, it's not just those 2 minutes. It ends up on your Facebook page. And if you're like doing an open house on a Sunday and you go over on a Friday and say, I'm going to be holding this house open on Friday, I'd love for you to send people by, you can actually go into Facebook and pin it. So it's the first thing people see on your Facebook page until after the open house is over. And then obviously you want to unpin it or pin something else ahead of it, right? But it lasts, it goes on, and especially if you do another one after the open house. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by at the end of my open house. I had 7 people through. It was really a lot of fun. I enjoyed meeting new people. If you're interested in seeing this house, I can absolutely show it to you. Give me a shout. I'll make an appointment for you to see it. That kind of thing. There's a second video that I do, and I pin that. So I just keep that on there for a few days. So anybody comes on my page sees that. When we're building rapport and everything, we want to do open questions. Why, how, when, and where. How is not with a W, just add a W to it. But the point of all that, why they're called open questions, is because they're questions that are open that can't be answered with a yes or no. It allows you to be lead into a conversation with them. It allows them to feel like you're wanting to know more about them. Why are you looking at this house? What would cause you to buy a house? When are you thinking about buying a house? These are all things that they can't say yes, no. They got to give you some information. And when they give it to you, you ask another question that's open so that you engage them. There's nothing more, nothing better as far as building rapport than having people feel like you care about them and that you really are interested in what they have to say and what they're looking for. All right. So when we start talking about the open houses, and this is where we get into the 7 to 10 day scenario, preliminary preparation is at least as important as the open house itself. Answer the question, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish with this open house? You know, are we trying to attract buyers? Well, then we might want to put something into a move up neighborhood, a neighborhood where we think those people would sell and move into this neighborhood. Monica's building a house in Belvedere. So let's just say she's in that house and it's X amount of price and she wants to upgrade. She wants to do something else, God forbid, because she's building a house. She just wants to get in it. I mean, but this is just for hypothetical. That's right. So you may have an open house, say, we're off of Polo Fields, one of the Benavar or Montgomery Ridge, which is an upper price range, bigger lots, you know, those kind of things. So you might send something into Belvedere and say, okay, you thought you wanted to live in a neighborhood that didn't have any lots, but now you realize you want space. So I've got this wonderful new listing in Benavar and Montgomery Ridge, or maybe even Dunlora or Still Meadow. Anyway, the point being is, because you're looking for move-up buyers, you're going to send something into there, or it may be that you're looking for listings, right? So answer the question, what are you trying to accomplish? Proper marketing maximizes opportunity. Make sure you share what COVID-19 protocols will be in place. Some people are still interested in knowing that. Do I have to, you know, most people are now coming in without masks and things like that. I wear a mask a lot, as a lot of you know, and people say, oh, do you want me to put my mask on? I said, no, this is for my, you know, my comfort. And I'm in a big group and everything, you know, I'm gonna wear one, but you know, make somebody not feel, if you're gonna wear a mask in an open house, which I probably would do myself, because I don't know who's coming in and out. The first thing I'm gonna say is try to take that off of there. That, hey, I've got this on for your protection. You know, you're fine without having one, so that they don't feel like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of this house. This person's got a mask on. I haven't tested positive. My wife has a group of women that come that she meets with every Tuesday morning. And one of them last night texted her, I think there's 6 women. And one of the women texted her last night and said, my daughter just tested positive for COVID. They had a whole bunch of people at Thanksgiving. She works at the hospital and she tested positive for COVID. Do you think it'd be all right if I came over with a mask on? And Dottie said, no, it won't be all right. You know, I appreciate you asked me, but for me, I would rather make sure that you're okay. Let's get you through these few days and make sure you're okay. But the key is to make other people feel comfortable, right? And that's another thing, that when you see somebody with a mask, ask them, would you rather me put my mask on? That shows you that you care about them. Anyway, make sure you share the protocols. Social media, and we'll talk more about it, but it reaches more people, gives you feedback as to how your marketing efforts are going, right? When you do social media, you'll see how many people are liking it. You'll see people who share, hey, Jennifer, there's an open house over here. You might want to tell Sam about it. You know, that kind of thing. Getting other friends of yours, when you're doing an open house and you're posting an open house on social media or a Facebook video or whatever. Hey, I'm going to post this. Would you please share this for me? Because they're going to see it because they're your friends and they can share it onto their Facebook. And depending on how many friends and things, it can go viral pretty quick. Another thing you might want to be thinking about doing with accomplishing the open house is you're looking for more listings. We're all looking for more listings right now. If we can get a listing that's well priced and in a good location, we can pretty much guess that you know, we're going to have money in our accounts within 60 days, right? So if we're looking for more listings, then we may want to start previewing. We're doing an open house. Here's the open house here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the people to the left, go to the people to the right, go to the people across the street. I'm just going to knock on the door and say, hey, I'm David. I'm with Howard Hanna Roy Wheeler. I'm going to be holding the house open down here at 2104 Brownstone Lane. If you know anybody who's thinking about maybe moving in the neighborhood, I'd love for you to have them stop by. And if I can help you in any way, here's my card. Please reach out to me, or hand them a flyer. You know, get a little open house flyer put together and just go knock on the neighbors' doors. Why? Because they may be thinking about selling at some point. Yes, they may know somebody who might be interested in moving to the neighborhood, but when you're doing that, they're saying, wow, this person, nobody's ever knocked on my door before and invited me to the open house. Nobody's ever knocked on my door and said, hey, I've got this going on. Same thing with previewing. When you're doing open houses, you might go to 3 or 4 houses that you think are in competition with this house, especially if they're in the same neighborhood, right? But if they're in a different neighborhood, go and preview them and do the same thing. Knock on a few doors to the left, knock on a few doors to the right, cross the street. Hey, I'm Jennifer. I'm holding this house open over here on 2104, in the next neighborhood at 2104. If you know anybody who's thinking about moving into this area, I'd love to talk to them. And by the way, if you know anybody who's thinking about selling, I'd love to talk to them. This is the kind of marketing I do to get somebody's house sold, right? Now, you don't have to say, are you thinking about selling? That's pretty personal when you're first meeting them, right? But do you know anybody? Well, if they're thinking about it, they know somebody. And that's one of the cool things about what Howard Hanna's doing right now. When you get a new listing and it goes in the MLS, the first thing that happens is just listed cards go out to the 50 surrounding properties. And then when it sells and it goes in the MLS as sold, 50 just sold cards go out. So the neighbors get that. So if you're doing an open house, you get a listing, they get a just listed card. You do an open house, now you're stopping by and introducing yourself to them. They're going, whoa, this person is really going out of their way to make sure that this property is marketed. And the people that you do get a chance to talk to, when you do these kind of things, the people that you really have a good conversation with, make note of their address, go back in the tax records, find their information and write them a personal note. Dear such and such, it was really great meeting you as I was out previewing for my open house. If I can ever help you in any way, please let me know. Business card in the envelope. So touch, personal note. And all of a sudden you've got somebody who's thinking this person is doing a whole lot more than others. So market to neighbors. The other thing as it relates to that, when I say offer refreshments, I'm not saying that you knock on people's doors and offer them refreshments. Although I used to have an agent friend that did that. He literally had a backpack that had coffee on one side and tea on the other. And then on the front of it, it had a place for cream and sugar and half and half, three different things. And he knocked on their door and said, hey, I'm Kurt Kuykendall. It's really nice. I've been wanting to meet you. Would you share a quick cup of coffee with me? And he had these little cups. And most people, said now these days, people look at you like you're crazy. No, I'm not going to drink something from a stranger. But people would sit there and have a cup of tea or cup of coffee with him, just these little small cups. He poured in whatever. And he just say, hey, just wanted to, have a chance to meet you. If I can ever help you in any way, let me know. And then Thanksgiving, pumpkins showed up on their porches. He did all sorts of things. And ultimately he controlled that neighborhood. He controlled that area because they all knew him. And he was creative. Oh my gosh, this guy's going this much effort. This is the kind of person I want to work with. So inviting the neighbors, though, often refreshes. What I'm talking about is if you're doing an open house, and let's just say you're going to do an open house, especially right now, they're getting dark from 2 to 4, right? Have a nosy neighbor hour from 1 to 2. So you're doing the open house from 2 to 4, but you send your flyers into the neighborhood and say, I'm going to be in an open house from 2 to 4, but from 1 to 2, it's just for the neighbors. And I'm going to have refreshments. I'd love for you to come by. It'd be a great time for you guys to meet each other. I'd like to meet you. And the bottom line is I'm just trying to meet the neighbors because I want to have an opportunity to get them into my database, right? Into my engaged database so I can begin to send them things. I can begin to add them to the neighborhood newsletter that you can just put their zip code in and boom, they're in once you've got them in engaged. To learn how to do the Hanna e-cards, which I just did. I just sent, if you looked at your Howard Hanna emails, you got a happy Thanksgiving card from me. That was right out of Hanna e-cards because I've got these things all set up with groups and things like that. So, but offering refreshments, please stop by. It just makes people feel more welcome. If you're saying I'm going to have refreshments, it's not just a willy-nilly kind of thing. Asking other agents to send their clients over with their card. Getting flyers out to other agents. What am I talking about with that? If it's my listing and I'm trying to get it sold, then what I would do is I'd go in the MLS and I'd go into who has been the selling broker on transactions over the last year. So look and see which agents, and it's easy to do. You go in the MLS and you go out to find the field and find buyer agent, and you can literally add that to your search. And then, or your report, and then you can, print out, Wyndham Farm or whatever it is, and find out who has brought buyers to that over the last year, run that report, and then you send things to those agents because obviously they've brought buyers into that neighborhood before hey, I've got a new listing in Corey Farms. If you know anybody just thinking about buying, please have them stop by at the open house. I'll honor you. Just have them come by, tell them that you're working with, that they're working with you, and I'll make sure they're honored. I'll let you know that that they came by, right? Yeah, it's not your listing. That you probably don't want to do that, because what you're trying to do when it's not your listing is try to get folks that get there that you can build relationship with and start working with. Ask everyone to leave their name, info on a sign-in sheet, or better yet, use open to close. Open to close in the GoHanna, you can create a QR code, and Kristen can help you with that, or the folks in Gwen can help them, or Jeannie and Zagros to create a QR code, and then you've got your sign-in sheet with the QR code on. All they got to do is use their phone, put their information in, and the beauty of that is it captures into your Engage. They sign into open to close. It goes right into Engage, which is your contact management system. And then you can set up a preset message that 2 hours after the open house, they get an email from you. Dave, thanks for coming by my open house today. If I can help you in any way, please don't hesitate to ask. So they're getting a follow-up. You don't have to do anything. It just happens on its own. Or you can still do, the old-fashioned way, having a sign-in sheet, name, address, phone number, email address, phone number. Now, what I used to do, totally up to you, but back in the day, because I didn't have open to close with my sign-in sheet, one, I'd want to have a log for the seller. And right now, that's important. You can still use COVID for that. Due to COVID, we need to have a list of folks that have come by the house, just in case there's any problems. We want to be able to notify you. But also, I'm giving away a $50 gift card to anybody that signs up and comes to the open house. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But the point being is, I would literally have a sign-in sheet that I had already written a couple names on. And I had it written with name, email address, and phone number, because my pastor on Sunday talked about the fact that we're like sheep, and sheep are followers, right? And the same thing with this. If people see that you put your name, email address, phone number, the next person's going to put their name, email address, and phone number. The next person puts their name and phone number. Well, then I'm putting another name behind it. Name, address, phone number, because I want to have people understand that that's what I'm looking for. The first person just puts their name in, the next person's just going to put their name in. So just a tip there, but advertise a restaurant for a month in exchange for a $50 gift card. Someplace that you go on a regular basis, and just go in and say, hey, I'm going to be doing some marketing this month. Would you mind? I'd love to get a gift card from you, and I will advertise you throughout the whole month. Now, why do I say the whole month? Well, if you're going to do 2 or 3 open houses a month, right? You can use the same gift card. You just say the drawing will be held on November 30th. You can use it to send out to agents that come to your listings and say, if you'll send me feedback, you'll be entered into a drawing for a gift card. It could be the same gift card for the whole month. And that, when you explain that to a restaurant or a coffee shop or whatever, they're going to be grateful to have the marketing. It's a way that you're marketing to your folks, and so they probably get better results from it, and more people look at it and that kind of thing. So you'd be surprised. And even if they say, well, I'll give you a $25 gift certificate, that's better than nothing, or you can add $25 yourself, and I'll split it with you. And then depending on how it goes, and what kind of response you get, you can say, hey, I was able to send out to 38 people this month an email that talked about such and such won the gift card. So if they see that there's bang for their buck, there's a good chance that they would continue to do that. We talked about videos. They love to click on videos. So creating videos and letting people know about a house and what price it is and what location it is and stuff. People love to look at those things. Most agents, if it's not your listing, most agents will have written an ad to be in the Real Estate Weekly or the Daily Progress or that kind of thing, but it may not be an ad that's great for an open house. So you sit down and think about what would I want if I was looking for this house, if I was looking for this particular house, what would I want in the ad that would make me want to come to that open house? Now, here's something that I think that is really helpful and very few people do. And that's hold it open later than is what's customary to eliminate your competition. Now, what do I mean by that? You look at the open houses on the MLS, you look at the open houses in the Real Estate Weekly, you look at the open houses in Daily Progress, and most times you're going to see 12 to 2, 1 to 3. 12 to 2, 1 to 3. That's pretty right. I mean, that's pretty much the day. So what if I hold mine open till 4? Nobody else is open till 4. So what does that mean? That means that people who are serious about buying something, right, are going to hold yours to last because they know you're open till 4, right? The people that are 12 to 2 or 1 to 3, people are going to be scurrying to get to those because they want to get to as many as they can in the time that they have. But if you're open to 4, you're going to be the only one that's left after a certain time. So 2 things happen with that. 1 is you're going to get more traffic, right? 2 is you're the last person they see. And if they've gone to all these different open houses and pretty much people have not been prepared, people did not have the information that you're going to give them, and you hand them what you're going to give them, that we're going to talk about here in a minute, they're going to be impressed. You're the last person you see, and there's a much better chance that you're going to be able to have a longer conversation with them because they got no place else to go. There are no more open houses for that day. So I would just encourage you, at this particular point, when it's not daylight savings time, I think going till 5 is a really good idea, right? Right now, it's just getting too dark. And so I think 4 is probably a better time frame. The other, so that's just an hour later than everybody else. And then that way, if you do a 2 to 4, then you do your 1 to 2 nosy neighbor hour, right? 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So you're still 3 hours, but you're going after the neighbors first. Sundays are best. Saturday, if it's a new neighborhood where they're offering newly built homes. So if a lot of neighborhoods out there have got new construction, right? And a lot of them aren't going to be delivered until May or June of next year, right? So if I can find an open house in one of those neighborhoods, I might do something on Saturday. Because why? Because people go into the model, find out it's not going to be ready till June, and they say, well, honey, let's go look at this house that's on the market right now and see if that fits us, right? It's going to be fairly new because it's still in a new construction community. So keep that in mind, but most times Sunday's better. And the reason for that is that Saturdays is really for family stuff. Soccer, basketball, you name it. Monica and I have had these conversations about ballet, gymnastics, those kind of things. Sundays, there's not as many of those things going on unless you're in the travel and that kind of thing. So there's just more opportunity. People, some people go to church on Sunday, they go out for brunch, and then they say, let's go look at a couple open houses. We talked about getting to know the neighbors, asking them what they like about the neighborhood, telling them to tell their friends about open houses, following up with a personal note. Another thing you want to do before an open house is go knock on the neighbors' doors. If you didn't do it before, do it, get there a little early and just knock on the door and say, hey, Jennifer, I just want to let you know I'm holding the house next to you open today. If you see anything, weird, here's my cell number. Please call me. If anything causes you, any sort of discomfort or whatever, please let me know. Oh, by the way, you're on the corner. Would you mind if I put a open house directional in your yard for these next couple hours? I'd really appreciate it to direct people in. People being person, yeah, that's fine. I'll pick it up right afterwards, whatever. And then maybe what you do is, again, thanking them, writing a personal note. Dear such and such, I really appreciate meeting you today. Thanks for letting me put the sign in your yard. If I could ever help you in any way, you've got a reason for dropping them a note, right? So getting to know the neighbors and asking them. The other thing that I didn't know until recently when I was teaching a safety seminar at CAR is you can call Albemarle County Police. And I don't know if you can do this city or not, but I know you can do it in the county at their non-emergency number, obviously. And they'll send a car through the neighborhood. Hey, I'm doing an open house over in Still Meadow, on Sunday. Just wanted to let you know, and in case you see a lot of cars or somebody calls in about a lot of cars being in the neighborhood that weren't in before. That way you can explain to it. But also, if you want to send, if you get a chance and it's not too crazy, if you send a squad car through for your safety. Somebody who wants to do harm, they're not going to do harm. They're going to think twice about it when all of a sudden they see a county police car driving through the neighborhood. It's one of the reasons I loved when I lived in Still Meadow, right up the street, a state trooper lived in our neighborhood, like 6 doors up. So a state trooper's car was in the parking lot, right? And went by my house every morning and every night. I kind of like that. So again, Get to know the neighbors, think of different reasons why just to go by. Now, you can see why this takes more than a couple days. These are all things, we're not making it, it's not, we're basically talking about an hour a day. I'm gonna spend an hour a day promoting this open house a week from now or 10 days from now. And I'm gonna get through the neighborhood and I'm gonna preview and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. All of these, why? Because it's a reason, because I'm promoting the open house, right? The other cool thing is if it is your listing, the seller is going to be excited because why? You're going to tell them all the things. I'm doing something every day for the next 7 days to try to draw people into your house. Here are the things I'm going to do. I would literally write it out and have a calendar and show them, this is what I'm doing. And especially if you do this, this can be part of your listing presentation. When I hold an open house at your house, now you don't want to do this on a house that's not going to be a good open house. You know, that's a listing that you're going to try to tell them why we shouldn't do an open house here. It's out in the middle of nowhere, you know, whatever the case may be. You know, it looks crummy from the outside, whatever the case may be. There's oftentimes reasons why an open house may not be the best way to spend 3 hours, right? But if it is, right, then in your listing presentation, you say, when I get this listing, we're going to put it on the market and see how things go. And a week from then, we're going to hold a public open house. Public open house. And this is a calendar as to what I'm going to do from here to that open house. These are all the things I'm going to do each day. There's no other agent that's going to show them a calendar like that. And that could be the differentiator. That could be the reason why somebody chooses to list with you versus not. This person has a plan, even for the open house, as to what's going to happen. For people who lease in the neighborhood, you know, you're talking to people and whatever. If you can follow up with them, send them information about listings and open houses in the future. Oh, you're renting here. Have you thought about buying? Well, I have, but I don't think I can qualify. Well, hey, we've got a great guy by the name of Jay Dominic. He's with Town Mortgage. He would love to just have a conversation with you and see in the future, when does your lease up? Oh, it's in 6 months. Well, great. Why don't you just get with Jay and just see what you can qualify for? You know, you might be surprised about what you could qualify for compared to what you're paying in rent. But having Jay's information, so you know you're offering that service to them. Talked about learning how to use open to close for sign-ins and be able to explain Real Scout. Now, Real Scout is our search mechanism, right? You get the information, the kind of property that they're looking for, and then you can enter them into Real Scout. Names, blah, blah, they're looking for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, wall carpeting or hardwood or whatever. And they'll start getting information about things that are coming on the market. And you'll get an email as well. Hey, this property just came on the market, might be a good fit for your client. So learn how to use open to close. And like I said, Kristen and Gwen and Jeannie can help you with that. And then be able to explain Real Scout so that you can get them registered. Have 2 or 4 financing components written on a flyer. And this is something that Jay can do for you. When you say, Jay, I'm going to be holding this open house, it's listed at this. Can you give me a USDA rural sort of, you know, breakdown? Can you give me an FHA breakdown? Can you give me a 95% loan to value conventional breakdown? And maybe in this market, the 4th one would be, can you give me a 2-1 buy down? You know, where somebody is getting a lower interest rate and getting the seller to pay closing costs. I was talking to an agent yesterday who's thinking about joining our company, and she was late in calling me. And I was really ticked. No, I'm kidding. She was late in calling me. And the reason she was late, she said, you know what? We're having to negotiate contracts again. She had a buyer and there were some issues with the home inspection. Oh no, she has a seller and the buyer had home inspection and the buyer wants some things fixed. Well, 6 months ago, the seller goes, go pound sand. You know, I'm not fixing anything. Whereas now they're having to, whoa, let's keep these people in the, this is the only contract we got. What can we do to fix this so that they're comfortable moving forward? But the point being is, you know, that 2-1 buy down with interest rates, that could be a reason why somebody chooses to work with you because you gave them information that they didn't even know about. And sometimes you can get the seller to pay those closing costs. Jay's talked about that in his lunch, I think the last, whatever his ice cream and learn or whatever it was. No, the Italian wedding soup. He talked about the 2-1 buy down where for 1%, so like a $400,000 loan for $4,000, somebody could get a 5.5 or 6% loan the first year versus a 6.5% loan. And sellers are willing to do that right now because there's not as much activity out there. So get Jay to help you create that handout. And another reason that that's helpful is for monthly payments. Somebody doesn't think they can afford this house. They come in because they're just coming in on a sign, right? They see the sign, they come in, they see the price is 400,000. Oh, we can't afford this. But then you hand them this sheet, and the sheet says that the monthly payment is $1,700 or whatever. And say, well, wait a minute, our rent's $1,500. Maybe we can afford this. And all of a sudden they're engaged in the house where they could have just walked out because they didn't think they could afford it, right? Next thing I think is really, really important is make the house feel like a home. When you're doing the open house, make the house feel like home. One, this is the seller's responsibility. I want the house to be clean. I want the beds to be made. I want the lights on already, right? I want you to have vacuumed yourself out the front door, right? And I want you to be gone for the time that I'm holding the open house. Nothing makes a prospect more uncomfortable than when the seller's there. They feel like they're invading their space. They got to get in and out as fast as they can because they don't want to be bothering them. Whether it's an open house or just a showing, tell your sellers they've got to be gone. Go to the movies, do something, but they've got to be gone. And then once they're gone, you want to create, and hopefully they've gotten the house in good condition. I used to, when I was selling 100 years ago, I used to have an open house kit in my trunk. And the open house kit was one of those archive boxes with the top on it, those corrugated boxes with the top. And it had, as you can see in the outline, it had a cookie sheet, a baking sheet, it had spatula, napkins. With COVID and stuff, now it would have face masks, Lysol wipes, gloves, booties, those kind of things. But I would have all that in place, right? And then, so I'd get out of my car, and the only thing I had to do before I went to open house is I went to Safeway or Giant or wherever I went, and I'd buy one of those tubes of Pillsbury cookies, and I'd take my baking sheets and I'd cut them up into quarters. And 12 minutes later, I had chocolate chip cookies or oatmeal raisin cookies or whatever. And then I would have, I would buy apple cider. And in the summer, it was cold. And in the winter, it was hot. And get a little bit of a cinnamon apple potpourri on the stove. And I ask the seller's permission for that because they may not like that smell. But if they say yes, when somebody walks in, they're smelling home-baked cookies, they're smelling apple cinnamon, potpourri, there's apple cider for the kids if they're thirsty or whatever. Much better chance of them sticking around for a while. And again, making them feel like, oh, you really prepared for this. You really put, and those cookies and things can be part of your refreshments for the nosy neighbor hour, right? And so I just had all that in a box, and as soon as the open house was over, it all got cleaned up, back in the box, and back in the car. So it was a very simple, leave church on Sunday, have brunch, go to Giant, get my things, pull my open house kit out, and I was ready to go. You also want to leave the house in better shape than you found it. Leave the house in better shape, clean up and around, go around, make sure all the cabinets are closed and those guys' doors are closed that were, whatever. Leave the lights on, for when the sellers, but unless the seller, gives you other information, but leave the house in the best shape possible. And then when talking to potential buyers, tell them about other houses you've seen recently. Now, this is where your previewing really kicks in. If you're out previewing, especially you're holding up open house open at 400,000, and you're previewing things from 325 to 350 to say 500, right? You go out and you preview anything that's available in the general area, within a mile or so of the house. That way, what you're going to do is you're going to do something that nobody else is doing. You're going to communicate that, one, you'd like to represent them, and two, that you are prepared in a way that nobody else was. Why? Because you've previewed those houses and you put together a little handout of these are the houses that are available on the market right now between 325 and 500. Somebody may come in and say, this is too much for me. Well, great. There are a couple of houses that I saw recently that were at this. Somebody might say, this isn't big enough for us. Well, you know what? There's a house up the street that's a little bit more, but has an extra bedroom. or whatever, you are doing the work for them and they're seeing that you know the market. You're not just saying, oh, okay, well, let me get back on the computer and look for things and I'll get back to you. No, you've already done that. One, you're showing them that you know what you're doing, right? Two, what it also does is it gives you something to give them when they leave that has your information all over it, right? Three, maybe a couple of those are open. Maybe a couple of those houses you searched and you found that a couple of them are open. You can say, hey, Dave, just want to let you know that I'm going to give you this handout with these different, and two of them are open. And by the way, I've called the agent that's holding it open and told them that I might be sending people your way. And they'd be more than happy to have you come by. And so you're sending them to that open house, right? But two, now there are 4 or 5 others that aren't open. But drive by them, and if any of them look interesting to you, you know where I'm going to be till 4 o'clock. Come on back, let me know if you'd like to see one of those, and I can see if I can arrange to show it after I get done with the open house today, or maybe tomorrow. And so you're calling them to action. You're saying, drive around, see something, and if you see something you like, come back and find me or call me. Here's my cell phone is right here on the handout, right? You're giving them a reason why they should be back in touch with you because you're telling them about houses that maybe they didn't know. And it's important when you're at the open house, and that's the next comment here, is finding out if they're working with another agent. That's one of the first things we should be asking people after we sign them in and we're starting to build reports. Say, hey, are you working with another agent? Because some people send their people to open houses and they say, yes, I am. I'm working with such and such. Oh, great. Do you have something in writing with them? Yes, I do. Okay, well, great. I'll let them know that you came, right? There's no reason for you to try to get all worked up to try to help them and find out that the agent's just at Smith Mountain Lake this weekend and sent them here to have you show them the house so that if they're interested, they can write a contract on it on Monday or Tuesday, right? So have you done anything in writing with another agent? No. Well, I would like to earn the right to represent you. Respectful, professional language. I would love the opportunity to earn the right to represent you. And I hope that by seeing how I've prepared for this open house and these handouts that I'm giving you show you that I go above and beyond to get people the information that they need. Finally, send a thank you note to everyone you've made personal contact with. Send a follow-up to anyone you invited who didn't make it. You know, people that you invited that said, yeah, I might come by. You can say, hey, I'm sorry you weren't able to come by. We had a great turnout. And this is another thing where you might think about doing a Facebook, I mean, not Facebook, but a video message. Just get on your phone and say, you know, hey, Monica, had a great open house today. Had a bunch of people through. Some of your neighbor friends were here. Sorry, we didn't get to see each other. Hopefully we'll see each other next time. And just send it via email to them. Keep it short. And that's what's nice about the emails. You have to keep it short or it won't send. But if you have their cell phone number, a text, you know, for whatever reason, videos work better on text than they do email. All right, just some other quick suggestions for you as we kind of wrap up. Create Facebook events for your open houses. You can go onto your Facebook page, your business page, and you can click event and you can create open house December 3rd, Sunday from 3 to 5. Give them the information, and then that way you can begin to invite your friends. And you'll go in once you set up an event, you can click invite, and you can literally click your friends' names on Facebook, and they'll get an invite to your event. Go ahead.
Oh, hi, Callie. Oh, when did you roll in? You dumb shit.
Go ahead. Yeah, so you have to have permission. So you would say, if it's your seller, you would say, if somebody comes in and their daughter, they're looking for their daughter who's moving here, would you mind if they do a Facebook Live while they're here? You've got to get permission from both the seller, from the seller to be able to video in their property. So yeah, the answer is yes. You could, but I would include your seller in that process. This is one of the things I'm going to do for you. I'm going to be holding, I wouldn't even say, can I? I said on Friday, I'm going to come by and I'm going to do a quick video that I'm doing an open house here on Sunday. And I'm going to come up to the house. I'm going to walk around to let people see the backyard and I'm going to invite them in. And they'll go, oh, that's a great idea. You don't have to say, do you want me to do a video in that situation? But if you're coming into the house, it's the same thing. If I'm gonna have it ready for that preview, and when I get to the front, I'm gonna open the door, and that's gonna be sort of, and that might be the end of my video of you want to get their permission that you're videoing in their house. Yeah, absolutely. We talked about the live promo videos before showing. I would do one after the showing, pinned to the top of the feed. We talked about that. You can do a sponsored Facebook ad for listing week prior to open house. That's the boost, the Facebook boost that you can do. You can create the event, and then right on there, it'll say, do you want to boost this? And you just click on that, and you can decide how long, 2 or 3 days or whatever, and to decide what you want to spend to get that boost. The nice thing about that is that you're going to get feedback. You're going to find out how many people actually viewed it. You're going to find out how many people actually looked at it. And then you can give that feedback to your sellers. Hey, we only had 2 or 3 people come through the open house. However, my Facebook video, 38 people looked at it. My boost, I had 70 people, blah, blah, blah. So they can see that your efforts were productive. 360 visual tours, virtual tours, sorry. You can, Vincent has a camera, and you can reach out to Vincent, and Vincent can go to the house, and he has one of those cameras that does 360s of every room. And you click on an arrow and it takes you into the next room and that kind of thing. Those are really cool things of grabbing people and having people be interested in what you're doing. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. We do have, we don't have them personally, but we have Seville Picks, I think, or is it Seville Picks or Home Picks or something like that, but also a company for more higher price properties. We have a relationship with John Hancock. They come here from Richmond, and they do an amazing job of drone photography. But a great point, Monica, if you go on our Agent Hub, agenthub.searchcharlotte.com, there's preferred vendors, and I'm pretty sure photography's in there, and they'll have 2 or 3 different companies that we recommend, and different price points. And I think it's VA Home Picks, I think, is one of them, but go ahead. What that means is you can't put any information, your contact information or anything in the public remarks in the MLS, or you'll get a CAR violation, because again, the MLS is an offer of compensation. So it's not about drawing it to you. It's about letting everybody know about it. So we get dinged every so often because we represent Craig Builders, represent Ryan Homes, Atlantic Builders. And sometimes in our comments, we'll put Atlantic Builders. We can't put the builder's name in because it's not to have, therefore your own information can't be there for that. So that's the reason for that. Great question. The other thing a lot of people don't think about is Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace has a home sales category as well. Maybe not a lot of traffic, but it's still free exposure. And same thing with Nextdoor. You can go into Nextdoor and you can put in, hey, I'm holding an open house. Love for you to stop by. And that's allowed as well. Yeah, but the bottom line of all of this is, I hope you see, this isn't something that you do in a couple hours on Saturday, right? This is looking for new business. Am I looking for new buyers? Am I looking for first-time buyers? Am I looking for listings? Am I looking at listings in this price range? Do I want to upgrade my average sales price? Well, then I want to start doing open houses in a higher price range, right? All of those things are reasons for doing the open house, but the biggest reason is it gives you an impetus to be doing something every day to generate new activity. It's doing something every day to meet new people that you can add into your sphere of influence. So, and the more that you get of those, the more chance you're going to have of people wanting to work with you. Because why? You're going to build rapport with them. You're going to gain credibility with them. You're going to show them you care. You're going to be in touch with them. You're going to use the Howard Hanna tools, like the newsletter, like the Hanna e-cards, all those different things that are going to give you the ability to stay in touch with people so that you're at forefront of their mind. Because what we want to do is we want to be the source of the source, right? We always want people to reach out to us when it has anything to do with real estate. And the more things that we can do that put things in place, And as an example, one of the things that is really good right now has nothing to do with open houses. Well, it could have to do with open houses, is this new agent icon that you have, the ability to sign up for agent icon. We talked about it last week at the business meeting, right? You sign up for agent icon, you get the app, agent icon on your phone, then you text a picture to a 412 number that was in the handouts from last week. But Monica, if you don't have it, just, yeah, we'll get it to you. But anyway, in just a couple minutes, you get an email back with templates of with the picture that you took, and it says just listed, open house, coming soon. So as an example, with the Facebook marketing, you can go into agent icon, you can take a picture of the front of the house, you can text to the 412 number, and then you're going to have a template of all these things. And then you click the one open house and send it right to your Facebook page. And you can put the information in, open from Sunday, 1 to 3, whatever. It's right there, right, ready to go. And then, go ahead. No, it won't put, because they won't know you. It'll send you all the information and you download the one you want to use and then you post it. And then every day you get an email from Agent Icon with all sorts of things, ideas as to what you want to post on your Facebook. So like this morning, we got one and it was about why buying a home helps with retirement or something like that. And so I took that article and I posted it to the Charlottesville Facebook page of Greene County, Zion Crossroads. It's in the agent only Facebook page. It just easy as can be. I just got it, copy and paste it, put it out, and it was there. But that agent icon, when you take a picture of the listing, whether it's your listing or not, you can take a picture of it, send it to the 412 number, click on download open house, put your information in, open from 1 to 3, representing buyers only because it's not your listing, and boom, it's out there. And that's just an incredible new tool that we've had given to us just in the last month or so. So, all right. Well, a lot of information. The big thing is I really want you to think about using this as part of your business plan for 2023, that I'm going to do open houses at least a couple times a month. I'm going to take the time before, I'm going to take the time afterwards to use these to really help me convert and meet new people and convert them into buyers and sellers. So have a good rest of the day. Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow at the Chili Cook-Off. Wednesday from 5 to 7, or training on Thursday. Whatever, have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.